Wait, did somebody just take a picture? It's a new sound. Oh, hey, we're live. Hi. Hi, my name is Ashley Collins. Welcome to Project CST's live webcast about care for creation. We are very excited and sad at the same time because this is like the last one for now. For Project CST, we're wrapping up this week with care for creation. And so you might recognize who's sitting with me. This is Kayla. She is going to be talking to us about care for creation and all that goes with that. So to get started, I'm going to have the two ladies down here introduce themselves. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I am one of the social communication interns for the Office for Peace and Justice. Brianna.
And I'm Brianna. I'm also one of the OPJ communications interns.
And they have done an amazing job putting together Project CST for the last 6 or 7 weeks. So I want to applaud them live on air for doing such amazing work. Totes amazing. And yeah, so let's just jump right into it. What do you think? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to kind of throw out what the church says. What does the church say about, since we don't have any sound effects, I have to do them myself. Care for creation. In Caritas in Veritate, it says, the environment is God's gift to everyone, and in our use of it, we have a responsibility towards the poor, towards future generations, and towards humanity as a whole. Our duties towards the environment are linked to our duties towards the human person, considered in himself and in relation to others. It would be wrong to uphold one set of duties while trampling on the other. So I think it's pretty fitting that this kind of wraps up Project CST's webcast because it points backwards towards everything else. We're talking about solidarity. We're talking about the dignity of work. We're talking about the dignity of workers. We're talking about the dignity of the human person, community, family. So it's just kind of grows from individual human person to care for creation. So it just grows and grows and grows, which is pretty cool because as Catholics we have this wide universal lens that we see through. So what's the connection? Are you giggling?
Yeah.
So we were going to talk about what connects our faith with the environment and each other and how that works. So I'm going to turn it over to our question queen, Brianna, so she can try to get some answers. Yeah, Q squared.
So Caleb, for those who have not seen your last webcast, can you tell us a little bit?
Don't miss it. Gotta go look back. Then you'll have to say all of that again. Sorry.
Okay, then never mind. Just she was in another video.
That's true.
Vulnerable.
Do you want me to introduce myself? Hi everybody, I'm Kayla Jacobs and I'm the Catholic Relief Services intern for the Archdiocese of Chicago's Office of Peace and Justice, and I am also, I would say, an environmentalist, and I've lived on a few organic farms for some time. So,
cool.
Yep. Those are things sometimes.
Thank you. So why do you think taking care of our Earth is important?
All right, so this answer is 3 cups for me. It has 3 parts to it. So whenever I think of, like, why do I care so much about the environment, 3 things always come up for me. And so I always, as a Catholic, always think about, like, the first story of creation, and in the book of Genesis, I'm always trying to understand what God is trying to tell us through the story. And He's creating everything. He creates light, animals, all these great things. And then after every paragraph, after he creates something, it says, and it was good. And it was good, it was good, it was good. It's all over that chapter. So that's reason number 1, because God saw his creation and it was good. And God thinks that it's good. And then that led to God creating us because he created this great earth. And he wanted us to enjoy it. So it was a gift. So that's reason number 2. And also in that, he was very specific in saying, like, here are all these things. Here are the plants, here are the animals to sustain you, to help you live on this earth. It's like a beautiful gift to you. Nowhere in that does it say, like, destroy it, which leads to number 3. So number 3, where we are in modern times, there's a lot of consumerism, a lot of just waste, pollution, and if we keep doing that, we simply won't be able to live on the earth any longer. And we see that with increase of illnesses and diseases caused by water and food that have been poisoned by chemicals, to drought, a bunch of things. So you'll see how it's all connected with the rest of the questions. So those are my 3 reasons. Those are reasons we should care for creation, and many more.
Awesome, thank you. Well, like you said before, you worked on a farm setting. Do you think the current state of how the earth is being treated is a struggle for some who might be in places that is surrounded by droughts or pollution or anything like that in farm settings?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So the farm I was at for the longest amount of time was in West Virginia, and we didn't like suffer like drought or anything when I was there. So we had a great harvest. It was great. So I've never personally have experienced it, but yeah, farmers are probably the most affected by the way our environment reacts to the way that we're treating it. So yeah, like lack of food, lack of water, which causes a huge economic like dent for farmers specifically, because that's like their whole livelihood, and that's how they're providing for their families and their community. And so it doesn't only cause like economic debt, but that like in turn causes like severe depression and anxiety because they can't provide for their families or communities and do the work that they love, because of drought or any other fracking.
Right. And when you say farmers, are you talking about just individual family farms, or are you talking about farms that also produce like the food that we eat? You know, so not only if the climate is being or the environment is being affected and it's affecting these farmers, it's also affecting us. You know,
Oh yeah.
you know, we live in the city here, and you know, I live kind of close to the city. So, you know, how would a farmer's life affect me?
Right, and
Yeah.
what you're eating.
And what I'm eating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're all connected to the earth, even though sometimes when we're walking around the city, we don't notice it.
Thank you. You were the last webcast you were on. You were talking about the poor and vulnerable, and you discussed a lot about fair trade. Do you think the way our earth is becoming, it will be a problem for those who are farmers or who work on lands or anything like when it comes to fair trade or anything?
Poor and vulnerable. Yeah, so I would say, and I think I mentioned this before, that the poor and vulnerable are the most affected by climate change or reactions that Earth has, the way we're treating it. So even just like the poor and vulnerable in the city, oftentimes like their food source is from like a homeless shelter, food pantry, soup kitchen, and not all the time, but generally speaking, the food that is donated is like the cheapest food, which is the most unhealthy food. So it affects their health, which is just like a horrible cycle of just like never being able to get out of it or better. And then definitely for the rural poor, who a lot are farmers and live off of the land and grow what they can because they don't have access to a lot of other stuff, it affects their lives deeply too. And so that's why fair trade is so important, because not only do we have criteria around environmental issues, so like, yeah, like a criteria for fair trade is that it's organic, and then crafts are usually handmade, not in like a huge factory that's like releasing all of these chemicals and pollution. But it's also about, and most importantly, about building relationships. So say a horrible drought happens at a farm that is a fair trade farm with a partnership, and like lose all of their crop, can't provide the need for that year. Fair trade partners, fair trade partners will work with them and not just abandon them. Other people who are like just looking for a profit would just go to a different company and just like take their business somewhere else, you know. But because fair trade is about building relationships, the partners will remain partners. So then they wouldn't be completely lost.
Thrown out
Like,
because they're just
yeah,
dogs.
yeah, right.
I didn't think about that.
Well, I'm one of these people who don't understand what this words mean, so maybe you can help me out. For others who also don't understand, what does sustainability mean, and what does it mean to live a life of sustainability? Is that the no? That's not the word I'm looking for. But what does it mean?
Sustainability.
So sustainability is like what the word is, like sustain, to be sustained. So sustainability, and let me in a way, sustainability is to work towards sustaining things. So sustaining your life, but also the life of the earth, you know, sustaining all life, so that we can continue to work together and live in community with the earth. Yeah, so that's what it means.
So, what's an example of sustainability? So, like,
that, yeah.
Is it a building? Is it a type
Yeah.
of coffee cup? I mean,
Yeah.
when you think sustainability, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Right. So I think about conservation. So
Okay.
it's like using less,
Using less.
or making things from scratch. You know, like growing your own food. Not just leaving the sink running when you're brushing your teeth, you know. So I definitely think of conservation and just using less. But yeah, like now it's like this sustainability is all over the place. There's
Right.
sustainable buildings, solar panels, pressure on like the toilet seats, sustainable cups or compostable cups that you could just turn back into dirt and use in gardens and grow into food.
Right.
Um,
So so things like solar panels use less like coal energy. So the paper cups instead of like the styrofoam are degradable and give back, and so it's more of a cycle than a sucking it in and using it up and
and
going.
then landfill.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just left out.
Right.
So sustainability is more like products and way we use things, so that like, A, we use less, and B, we kind of give back almost. So if it's solar energy, you're giving back some other energy, like coal energy that you're not using.
Right. Yeah.
I want some solar panels.
Me too. This building should get some solar panels.
Well, Kayla, can you tell us about some of your experience living a sustainable life, or just living on the farms, or I don't know? Can you just talk about your experiences with God's creation?
Yeah. Can you say the first part of that question though? Because the computer made a
computer's really
funny
bad.
noise.
I just want to know maybe your experience of sustainability, and like what was your experiences living on the farm and just living that sustainable life and such. And how have you brought it to?
It wasn't sad and dreary. It was wonderful. It was the happiest I've ever been. Actually, just being so connected with everything, working hard to eat the grow and remove the weeds so that it can breathe more. You know, it was very fulfilling. It is very fulfilling. But I do understand that not everybody can just like pack up and live on a farm.
Yeah,
for
that
a
was gonna be
while,
my
you
follow-up
know?
question.
And so there are like a lot of ways to do it in the city, and like I said, just use less. Don't buy a whole bunch of stuff that you just simply don't need. Consumerism plays a big part in the whole picture. use less water, use less electricity, turn the lights off when you walk out of a room. Very simple, everyday things that you could do that could make a huge impact on the earth. And then also in Chicago, it's been great. Community gardens. There are a lot, especially on the south side, and in the inner city, Chicago is community gardens are popping up everywhere. Getting involved with those.
What's the importance of a community garden? Because like, oh yeah, I could just grow some stuff in my yard,
right,
thing. So what's the pull of a community garden? What makes it so awesome?
Yeah, so one builds community.
Hey, that's a Catholic social teaching buzzword.
And two, the food is healthy. It's usually organic, and so when you harvest something, the longer that it's harvested, the less nutrients it has. So straight from the plant is the healthiest it would be, and then any longer it goes after that, the less and less healthy it is. So like it's local and it's organic, so it's healthy food, especially in areas that, like I said, don't have access to a lot of good food for them. Like organic stores don't, like hip stores don't go into neighborhoods like that.
Right.
That's not their market, So it brings that food to them, and people in those areas play a part in their community and in their food source, and it's a really good way to build human dignity. Like I said, when I was at the farm, I felt so fulfilled. It does bring a lot of fulfillment, and the work that you do, dignity of work, everything.
Awesome.
Well, you kind of answered my last question, which was what are some ways people can get involved in taking care of God's creation? Do you want to...
Yeah, I'll talk a little more about it. So I mentioned that you could do like very practical, like day-to-day things, like turning off the light, turning off the water, making simpler meals, growing some of your own food, but also like if everybody all of us started doing that, like the problem is a big problem. So we do need to go to the root, social justice, and like advocacy towards things that would legislation that will help the environment would be great, or to like combat consumerism, so that more won't be wasted. Education, educate others about it and how it's not, like Ashley said earlier, not just like a tree hugging, only hippies do this.
Right.
No, it's part of our faith. Like God gave us a gift, and right now we're kind of slapping it in the face, like slapping this gift, like destroying this gift.
Part of me, it's almost like you have to work. This is the one that you feel like you have to work a little more. You might be able to like just say, oh yeah, that's fine, or I'll sign this petition. I have to like work at this,
Believe it or not.
So it takes a little bit more effort to instill those habits.
Yeah, and it's definitely habit forming. Yeah, it took a while. It still takes, I'm not like the most sustainable person in the world, but I try hard and I put a lot of time into building those habits. So.
She's awesome. When it comes to all this, she is. So,
That was my last question. Yay!
Care for creation.
Yeah, I mean.
Can I say one more thing?
You can say as much as you want.
This is something I wish I did in college, and I think college people are like a great in a great environment to do this if you're like living on campus. I think you're surrounded by a lot of like people who are ready to do things in college, and so I think like organizing people on your university, if you're a college kid, to like ask the cafeteria to get better products, healthier products that are more sustainable, compostable tableware, like
right.
whatever, like a garden at the university, composting at the university. I think your college kids are in a really good position. I mean, anybody could do it, but college kids should really try to do it.
And there's lots of land in colleges.
Yeah,
They
it's
could
like-
totally have some type of
Yeah,
garden
take
going
some
on.
spot at the quad, you know? Like, there's plenty of space to play ultimate frisbee, like, whatever. Build a garden, too. Like,
Ultimate garden.
ultimate gardening.
Ultimate gardening. Yeah!
So,
That is a great idea. It's a good idea. One of the things that is also going on this week is we're encouraging people off our website to take the St. Francis Pledge.
yeah.
And can you talk a little about that? You know,
Only a little
Just a little
bit. So, the St. Francis Pledge is this group of Catholics
yeah.
who are raising awareness about climate change. So care for creation in the context of like human dignity.
Mhm.
And they're calling Catholics to participate with them in being more environmentally friendly. And so the St. Francis Pledge.
The St. Francis Pledge. It's from the Catholic Climate Covenant. Let's see. If you go to our website and check out the Care for Creation section, at the bottom you'll find out some more information about that. So check that out and take the pledge to be more environmentally conscious, aware, and active.
And one cool thing that they are doing on St. Francis's feast day, October 4th, which is also Fair Trade Month, they have available a presentation, free presentation. They'll send it to you in Spanish or English, and with like videos and all this great stuff, and discussion questions. So your parish can just email them. They'll send you flyers, everything you'll need to put on this event to talk about care for creation and the poor and the vulnerable. That's the topic. So it should be really awesome.
Yeah.
So you should do it at your parish.
Yeah, so it's CatholicClimateCovenant.org, and their slogan is Care for Creation, Care for the Poor. And so, again, that's how we roll. That's how we roll. Yeah.
Catholic Church. That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. Any more questions, you guys? Bethany, Brianna? No? This has been awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you. No problem.
So, I guess we're going to wrap up the live webcast.
Last one.
Maybe we'll do a wrap-up one next week. I don't know if I can stop doing these anymore.
Start school next week.
So, all right. Well, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, ladies. Be sure to check out all the other, if you missed them, check out all the other live webcasts. All the information is still going to be up on our website. And, yeah, don't let Catholic social teaching get away from you. It is a part of your everyday
Don't
life.
put it under a basket. Don't put that flower under it.
Don't do that.
No.
Even if it's a fair trade organic basket, don't do that. So, so I guess we're signing out. I'm Ashley.
I'm Kayla.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
That
what I
works.
was supposed
Come
to
on,
do.
ladies.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye.